www.suividecolosénégal.com. À école au Sénégal, c'est facile, tu n'as qu'à te connecter. Tape école au Sénégal, les leçons sont beaucoup plus détaillées.
So we are back with active and passive voices, and we're going to be looking at examples because, we'll explain, we're going to look at examples here that you have to identify which sentence is active, which sentence is passive, and how do we transform it, to the other sense, okay? And so in this, we have a couple of examples on the board. The first one talks about the hunter killed the lion. The hunter killed the lion. Is that active or passive? The hunter killed the lion. We see the subject, the verb, and the object. So it becomes what? This sentence becomes an active sentence. Okay, it's an active sentence. Because you have the subject, the verb, and the object. The windows have been cleaned. The windows have been cleaned. Have, and then been. That tells you that it's already in a passive voice. Because you have, they have been cleaned. They have been cleaned. The windows have been cleaned. And then a dangerous dog attacked her. A dangerous dog attacked her. A dangerous dog attacked her. This is what? This is active. Active. She was sent a check for 1,000 euros. She was sent a check for 1,000 euros. She was sent a check for 1,000 euros. She was sent. Passive. They were looked after by their grandmother. Passive. A crash got Peter hurt. A crash got Peter hurt. A crash got Peter hurt. Passive. Sue changed the flat tire. Active. Sue changed the flat tire. So what does that become? The hunter killed the lion. If it were in the passive, what would that be? The lion was killed by the hunter. The lion was killed by the hunter. By the hunter. The windows have been cleaned. The windows have been cleaned. What would that be? The windows. If it's passive, what would that be? The windows have been cleaned. The windows have been cleaned. Active form would be what? The windows were cleaned. The windows were cleaned. Or cleaned were the windows. Cleaned were the windows. So the windows have been cleaned. Cleaned were the windows. The windows have been cleaned. Okay? And then you have a dangerous dog attacked her. Active. A dangerous dog attacked her. She was attacked by the dangerous dog. She, because her becomes she. She was attacked by a dangerous dog. She was attacked by a dangerous dog. Okay? She was sent a check for 1,000 euros. She was sent a check for 1,000 euros. That's passive. And active, what is going to be? A check of 1,000 euros was sent. A check of 1,000 euros was sent to her. A check of 1,000 euros was sent to her. She was sent a check of 1,000 euros. They were looked after by their grandparents. They were looked after by their grandmother or grandparents. That's a passive. Their grandmother looked after them. Dear grandmother looked after them. Dear grandmother, dear, it's like that, okay? Dear grandmom. Dear grandmom looked after them. Their grandmom looked after them. They were looked after by their grandmother. So their grandmother looked after them. A crash got Peter hurt. A crash got Peter hurt. Peter was hurt by a crash. A crash got Peter hurt. A crash got Peter hurt. Peter was hurt by a crash. Peter was hurt by a crash. Sue changed the flat tire. Sue changed the flat tire. The flat tire was changed. Was changed by Sue. The flat tire was changed by Sue. Sue changed the flat tire. The flat tire was changed by Sue. If you can even add another one. I arrived at work. Or you can say Kim arrived at work. Arrived at work at 9. Kim arrived at work at 9 or by 9. At 9, Kim arrived at work. At 9, Kim arrived at work. So these are, and of course this is active. So these are some of the examples of how to identify an active and a passive. You see that when it has had been, that's a passive. And then when the sentence is just direct, those are active words, the subject, the verb, and the object. So those are active and passive voices. And of course, there's so many examples that we can use as we go along, okay? And we'll look at them as we go. I hope that you have at least had some kind of understanding of what an active and passive is. And we will look at some more examples next time, okay? Thank you.
www.suividecolosénégal.com